Hey guys, Rachel Beasley here with That Fit Team. I'm a realtor here in the Hampton Roads area. As you can see, Jonathan is not here right now. Right now, we're just gonna talk about real estate and all of the changes that just happened with buyer representation and the buyer-broker agreement. And more specifically, what it means to you as a buyer now that the standard practice for commission rates has changed. So on August 17th, 2024, this went into play. This is now a thing here in real estate, basically across the nation. Before August 17th, the seller, when they list a home with a listing broker, they come to agreement with that broker to say, okay, I am gonna pay X amount of commission or maybe a percentage of the final sales price in commissions, and I would like X percent to go to my listing firm and X percent to go to the buyer's firm or the buyer broker. And typically that was a total of 6%, where 3% of the sales price went to the listing broker and 3% of the sales price went to the buyer broker. Now what that meant was buyers could have representation and not have to worry about paying for that out of their pocket. When they went to closing, they had to worry about their down payment, or if you had a zero money down loan, you just had to have your closing costs. And sometimes if you had an awesome realtor, or if the conditions were right, you were able to roll in those closing costs into your loan. So now everything's kind of changed. The whole idea here was to have transparency. We as an industry wanted the buyers to know what is their realtor getting paid and the sellers to know what everyone's getting paid. Well, it kind of went next level here. And now what it all means is buyers, the seller is no longer obligated to pay for your buyer representation at all. And before they were never actually really required to do this. It was just standard practice. But now standard practice is changing. So now that we see these changes, what this means is when you come to an agreement with your broker, your buyer broker, as a buyer, we have what's called a buyer-broker agreement. And that is really supposed to be entered before you start talking about a real estate property. So you can talk about real estate, ask for advice, ask about the process, but the moment you start talking about one specific property or 10 specific properties, that's when you're supposed to enter into a buyer-broker agreement with your agent. And that buyer-broker agreement really spells out what that agent is there to do for you. So now that the sellers are not advertising what commissions they are offering to a buyer-broker, they are now up to you as the buyer to pay for them or to make sure that your agent is compensated. So what does this mean for you? You can pay your broker in a couple of different ways, and here's how. One, you're gonna come to an agreement looking at this buyer broker. Are you gonna pay your agent a flat fee? Are you going to decide to pay them a certain percentage of the sales price of the home you end up finding, putting a contract on, and closing on? Once you come to terms with your buyer broker agreement of what they're getting compensated, now it's up to you guys to figure out how you actually are gonna do that. Now, if you go the route of percentage of commissions, there's a few different things to do here. One, as you go to look at homes, you can ask your broker, you can ask your agent to find out from the listing agent what the seller is offering in concessions. Now, a seller concession could mean a lot of different things. Seller concession could be them being willing to pay for your closing costs, or them being prepared to pay for maybe a home warranty. But now also what's grouped into that seller concession is the actual percentage or dollar amount that they are agreeing to pay your broker, so that buyer broker. What we're finding in the industry right now is a lot of sellers are just saying, hey, I'm not offering anything, it's negotiable. So negotiate this in the terms of the contract. So what does that mean for you as a buyer? Well, first, let's say easy day. The seller's like, actually, we can't advertise that we're offering 3%, but we are willing to offer 3% depending on the terms of the contract. You know what, that's great. Move forward. You know there isn't some unknown about what's going to happen moving forward if you want to put a contract on that home. Let's say your buyer broker agreement says you are compensating your broker 3% of the sales price, but the seller is only offering 2%. So that would mean you would have to come up with that extra 1% somehow. And you could come up with it in a couple of different ways. One, you bring that cash to closing, or actually in form of a check or a wire, Or you would actually roll that into your sales price. So if the sales price was $400 and the seller was offering 2% of the sales price, then you would have to bring an extra $4,000 to the closing table, or add $4,000 to the sales price. So then your sales price would be $404,000 instead of $400,000. Okay, so now we know you can either go off of, hey, the seller's offering commissions in their concessions and, honky-dory, or hey, they're not offering anything and we're gonna have to negotiate this in the contract. And that is your choice now as a buyer. Do you even wanna go look at this home? Can you afford to pay your broker outside of rolling it into the sales price? These are all conversations you're gonna have to have with your buyer broker, which if you work with us, we'll be having all of these conversations up front because we want to do a good job for you and we want you to have the best service. And any agent that you're working with should be giving you the same service they give to everyone, no matter what percentage they're getting paid. That's kind of the boring stuff. Now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, all the changes that have happened, man, what do you do now, right? Your broker's not gonna go out there and work for free, that's for sure. We don't get paid by the hour, and we only get paid when a home sells in accordance to what's predetermined on the contract, what percentage that is, or a flat fee. So I don't know about you, but I probably wouldn't want to go to a plastic surgeon that is working for half the price because I'm probably going to get half of the quality of plastic surgery. Or, oh my gosh, maybe you're going to go skydiving and you're getting 50% off. I don't want to get 50% off of skydiving. I want them to give me the full service. That would suck. So what does it mean to go under a buyer broker agreement, and when do you have to do that? You could call and say, hey, is this house available? I want to go see it this afternoon. Awesome. Mr. Buyer, I am going to have to get some paperwork signed before I can show you this home. Let's talk about that paperwork before we can get started. Those are conversations that your broker and your buyer broker are going to have to start having with you as buyers. Now, this has been in place for quite some time, but it just hasn't been enforced. But now that we have to have these conversations about how we're getting compensated, it is crucial to have that buyer broker agreement conversation and signed before you go see a house with a realtor. I hope you understand, us brokers out here, we're not running around doing nothing. We are out here actually working our asses off to help our sellers and help our buyers to give them the best service possible. Why would you need an agent working for you when, you could YouTube how to buy a house. You could, research DIY, like everyone's doing the DIY right now. But do you really want to do this yourself? Let's talk about what a realtor, a buyer representation actually does for you as a buyer. Well, one, we have experience, especially if you're working with a broker who has a lot of experience. We are here to help you strategize. We are here to give you knowledge, to make sure you're educated and help you analyze the market. We are doing this every single day, so we know what the market is doing. Forget what the news says. What is happening right now? And your realtor will tell you what's really happening right now if they're in the know and they're doing a lot of transactions. Knowledge is power, right? So you want a realtor that knows how to do this. You want a realtor that knows how to strategize and help you through different situations. So more knowledge that they have, the more experience they have, the better equipped they'll be to help you be educated so that you can make the best decision for you and your family while you're purchasing a home. We're here as negotiators. So we know how to write up the contracts and do all the documents and all the paperwork so that you're a compliant buyer and you're not like out of contract. That wouldn't be good. And probably wouldn't be able to Google those things to figure out how to do that. But let's talk about negotiation. So you want to have an agent that knows how to negotiate for your situation. Every home, every situation that I've ever worked with any buyer or seller has been different. Do you need to sell your home as fast as possible? Do you need to buy a home as fast as possible? Do you have time? Do you have the finances to pay extra money so that you can win that home? Or do you need to pinch every penny and we have to be very, very cautious about the sales price? These are all things that we are here to do for you and help you analyze so that we can strategize for each in every single situation. I talked about contracts. There's a lot of documents that goes into being compliant and the contract process and actually getting you from contract to closing. So your realtor and their team is there to help you and make sure that they can decipher those documents for you and help you through that. And then, good God, we haven't even gotten to contract to close. So the time that you get a contract, there are so many things that you have going on until the time you actually close on that home. The list goes on of the things that a realtor does for you from contract to close. And let me just say this, if you have a good realtor that actually cares about you, the relationship goes on after closing. We at That Fit Team, we are professionals in real estate and passionate about people. We have that a part of our tagline for a reason, because we really, really care. I love having conversations with my buyers and sellers after closing. I love to hear how you're doing. I love to hear what the home looks like. You know, what kind of changes did you make? What upgrades did you do? How are the kids doing? These are all things that we actually genuinely care about and want to be there for you. So when you work with us, just know we are professionals in real estate, been licensed for 18 years. We know how to do this. We are in the top 1% of agents in Hampton Roads. So we do have the experience, we do have the knowledge, and we have the people that actually care about you. So let's overview. Man, things changed August 17th of 2024. And now you as a buyer, you actually have to figure out how you're gonna pay your buyer broker. And we also talked about the reasons why you should probably not DIY this thing, because let's think about dollars and cents. You know, you can DIY some wallpaper or maybe even flooring on your home, but we're talking about a huge purchase. The average homeowner moves or buys a home in the United States on average about 5 to 6 times in their lifetime. So this is a decision that you are making only 5 or 6 times in your life. Are you really gonna DIY this thing? Or do you want to have a professional walking you through the process? Because it will save you money, it will save you some stress, I promise you that. So please, when you are interviewing your realtors, find out how much experience they have. What knowledge do they have of the market? Are they gonna be straight up transparent with you? Or are they gonna sugarcoat things because they don't wanna hurt your feelings? But you wanna have someone that's gonna help you get you to the finish line, keys in hand, at closing, that's gonna be there for you, looking out for your best interest. And having someone do that will save you money, will save you time, it will save you some tears, some headache, and some stress. And so please know that this is actually all a really good thing for you as a buyer. You have more power now because you have more information. And so here at That Fit Team, we want to be here for you. So please give us a call. You know, if you have questions about the buyer broker agreement, or you're not so sure what this looks like or what it means for you, we'd love to help you. We'd love to answer your questions. So please give us a call or shoot us a message below and we'll absolutely get with you. I'm Rachel Beasley with That Fit Team, where we are professionals in real estate and passionate about people. See you next time. Real estate news from Hampton Roads.